You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts.
All right, Black and White Sports supporters. Well, so for a while now, we have been calling out the conflict of interest that there is involving ESPN and the NFL. NFL now owns 10% stake in ESPN. And as you can imagine, that leads people like us to go, are we ever going to get any real reporting on the NFL again from ESPN that's not slanted, not biased? How about the fact that Adam Schefter and all the insiders remain silent about Dianna Russini and Mike Vrabel's affair? Rather interesting, isn't it? That they remain silent. Or how about the fact there wasn't any follow-up in the Kyle Shanahan situation? In other words, why did it take 11 days for this story to come out? Yeah, I mean, all these things, and the biggest story of the year has been the Vrabel-Dianna Russini thing, right? So it's led a lot of people to be like, ooh, I don't trust that. In the same way that over the years, look, there was a lot of guys I really like to listen to over at NFL Network. The only problem was I always knew they worked for the NFL. So there's bias there. Well, you're not going to believe this. How about the very company Dianna Russini worked for when she was banging Mike Vrabel? She worked for The Athletic as their NFL insider, getting paid $800,000 a year. By the way, we still haven't got that bombshell story from The Athletic, the reveal of their investigation. Is there a reason why? As I look at this headline. So we're not going to be able to trust The Athletic now either, because The Athletic and the NFL are in negotiations to give each other a reach around in a business relationship, essentially. The Athletic, NFL may deepen their relationship. And Mike Florio calls it out. Conflict of interest be damned. Because that's what it is. There's a lot of things I do not agree with Mike Florio about. A lot. Basically anything on a political level, me and him are not seeing eye to eye. But on some shit like this, yeah, you better believe we're aligned. This is dog shit. The Athletic, which supposedly prides itself on investigative reporting, gave employment to the NFL insider that was part of the biggest NFL scandal in a long, long time. And now there is becoming a intertwining relationship between the two. This shit's so corrupt. I mean, honestly. With the NFL selling the NFL Network and other media properties to ESPN, the league needs to beef up its digital offerings with new online content. Enter The Athletic. According to Front Office Sports, the NFL and The Athletic have discussed expanding their relationship. One possibility would be to include content from The Athletic appearing on NFL.com and NFL Plus. Last year, The Athletic acquired the ability to use game footage on the subscription site and its video offerings. The possibility comes at a time when The Athletic is presumably still investigating the work of former NFL insider Dianna Russini to determine whether her reporting was tainted by the actual or apparent conflict of interest that arose from her apparent or actual relationship with Patriots coach Mike Vrabel. It's a reflection of the sky-high journalistic standards that the New York Times, the owner of The Athletic, applies to the sports arm of the operation. How does selling content to the NFL, a league that The Athletic covers actively and aggressively, comply with those standards? Question mark. Consider this portion of the editorial guidelines that apply to reporters employed by The Athletic. Quote, when reporting and writing stories, we do not have an agenda, and it is important that our readers understand that. Our readers question our adherence to the basic tenet of journalism. Our credibility will be at stake. To maintain the highest form of authority, we should avoid even the appearance of a conflict of interest and reveal those sources and affiliations that may put into question our ability to be credible. God, Dianna Russini pissed all over that, didn't she? And now The Athletic looks like they're ready to sell their soul to suckle on the Disney of the NFL. Obviously, a business relationship with the NFL pursuant to the NFL is paying The Athletic to license this content creates a conflict of interest. For the same reasons the New York Times and The Athletic were concerned about Russini's relationship with Vrabel, the New York Times and The Athletic should not be licensing content to the NFL. It's no different than, for example, the federal government paying the Times to copy and paste content from the Times on a government website. There's no way the New York Times would ever do that. If the fecal matter ever hits the fan between The Athletic and Russini in the form of full-blown litigation, the company's existing and potential expanded relationship with the NFL becomes fair game for making the argument that the Times applies a double standard when it comes to actual or apparent conflicts of interest. For the reporters, it's forbidden. For the revenue streams, it's fair game. Oh, yeah. That would cause some serious problems. Maybe that's one of the reasons why the Russini investigation has quietly moved to the back burner, on its way to possibly sliding off the stove entirely. By wagging a finger at Russini for her actual or apparent conflict of interest, the company's obvious conflict of interest as to its coverage of the most prominent sports league in America becomes even more conspicuous. So how, you may ask, would something like this become a problem? If The Athletic cashing checks from 345 Park Avenue, NFL headquarters, management at The Athletic may think twice about reporting anything that would piss off the powers to be. And the business interests of The Athletic could prompt editorial decisions to not venture into any various rabbit holes that, if fully explored and exposed, could make the league and any of its teams or owners look bad. Yeah, this is a clusterfuck. I mean, that The Athletic, when it comes to NFL reporting, if this happens, should just pour some lighter fluid on their NFL editorial trustworthiness, light a torch, and just set it aflame. The Athletic will not be trustworthy if they enter into a relationship getting a reach around from Roger Goodell and the NFL. And now we know. I mean, you tell me, how can it look any different? Is this, yeah, as Florio points out, I have been sitting back for 2 damn months waiting for this story about Dianna Russini to drop from The Athletic on their investigation, and nothing has come about. And now behind the scenes, we have found out the NFL and The Athletic have been flirting with each other, getting ready to do the business version of what Russini and Mike Vrabel were doing all over the place together, bleeping each other to death. This is why people hate the fucking media. Let's be real. This is why people don't trust the media and won't trust the media. It's one of the reasons John and me's got 700,000 subscribers across 5 channels. Because we're not afraid to piss in people's Cheerios. We don't give a F. We're not beholden to anybody. Technically, all journalism and reporting is supposed to be that way. This shit is so corrupt. Tell me what you think, black and white sports supporters. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.